Welcome back to the Frog Pond Veg Patch. I'm Kelly. Dan is also here, and we're going to walk you through part 2 of setting up your winter garden. So in part 1 of the winter garden, we showed you how we were planting, what we were planting, and the different dates we used to determine when things are going to go into the ground. Now that frost is coming, it's time to set up the small greenhouses. That's the outer plastic layer and the inner frost cover layer. So we're going to be doing that. I've also got some beds to clean up a little bit, some weeding to do, and I'll walk you through all the different things I'm doing to prep the plants for winter. So the first thing I wanted to do is walk you through where the plants are right now. These are plants that I sowed, I think, in the beginning of September. So I'll give you an update on those. Then we have a couple hoops to put in to these beds here, and then we have another set of hoops that we need to bend. So I'll walk you through how we're doing that as well. I think I'll build one of these tents and show you how I'm going to construct it. And then we're going to set the camera up and just show you how we're building all these beds. All right, so I'll get down here close. Hopefully you can see everything. We have the lettuces that I bought and planted are about the same size as the lettuces I put in from seed. These are growing really well. This is just a winter salad mix. I have beets over here. Let's see, I have spinach and more lettuce over here. The spinach on the end here, hold on, let me get closer. The spinach on the end here is a little bit behind where I'd like it to be. Immediately after I planted these, the next day we got 2 inches of rain. A lot of the seeds I planted got washed all over the place. So I've had to move some of the spinach around, which has kind of stunted it a little bit. It's still before Halloween though, so I can still put some spinach seeds in here to fill in some of these blank places back here. This bed is coming along nicely as well. I've got beet greens over here, some cilantro back there before the Swiss chard. For the arugula over here, I have to trim this back. All of this is warm weather summer growth, and it's not going to withstand a frost. So I need to trim all of these back to these inner leaves down in here so it can better adapt to the cold. This last bed over here has been pretty well behaved. We got lettuces actually where they're supposed to be. And the claytonia is where it's supposed to be. There's tatsoi over here. Okay, so we're starting to make the inner hoops for the mini greenhouses. So we have one of them in the ground here, just proof of concept really. So what we're using, this is the wire that we're using. Get a shot of that. And for our 4-foot wide beds, we're cutting them into 5.5-foot lengths of wire, I think. And then we're just going to bend them into these square hoops, and we're going to have 4 of these per each bed. So we'll get that set for this bed, and then I'll show you the hoops that are going to go over the top of the entire bed. So I'm trying to get lengths on the ends that are about like this. That's going to fit inside the plastic hoops, more or less. These ones don't have to be perfect. The inner frost covers that are going on here, they're going to be out of the wind, out of the snow and everything. This is just to prop them up off the plants. I have in my head kind of marked like this band right here is where the plastic is going to be. Same on the other side and on the end. So I'm just kind of gauging based off of that where these hoops should be. And I'm trying to make sure they're tall enough so that when the Swiss chard grows up, it can be underneath the hoops as well. That looks pretty good. So we're just going to finish up the next 2 in here and then move on to the next step. I don't know if you can tell, but the wind out here is getting insane. So we're going to set up a camera and show you the rest of it. We're going to be putting in these hoops. Let me flip the camera around a second. Dan has all the hoops with him. These have already been rebent for our beds. So they're the right width, and we're going to put those in the ground. And then we're just going to finish up the rest of the garden because the wind is just, it's getting to be too much to film. So here it goes. Okay, so we got the hoops in for 3 of the beds. We have that 4th one way in the back there to do.
So basically, I'm trying to start with it almost halfway. against the larger tree and doing the first bend, and then kind of bringing it back out a little bit towards me, just a little bit more, and then kind of going back the other way, try to get the final bend. And what I'm really looking for is, I'm looking at the other side, try to get them to where I think that they're both going kind of vertically about the same. And there we have it. Pretty good. You can do a couple things. So I need to get these evened up, so I'm going to pull this side towards me a bit. But you can also, to make it narrower, you can just kind of push it down. Yeah, reshape it. It's pretty forgiving.
All right, let's get those into the garden and finish up that last bed. So it's the next day. It's freezing cold and raining, and it's actually snowing north of here, so it's time to get the covers on here. I was going to talk you through exactly what we're doing, but we need to leave the camera underneath this pink umbrella. So I think what we're going to do is just cover things, and I will do a quick walkthrough, hopefully, of one of them before the rain gets to be too much. All right, so I'm back into the wet. We're holding the plastic down with odds and ends, bricks and stones that we have. We mowed around these beds a few minutes ago to make sure the grass is nice and short for when we run the snowblower through here. Dan, could you grab the row cover? So we're using a row cover that has about 80% light transmission. This is the one that I bought. I just got it off Amazon. So with the soil, what I'm looking for it to do is to hold together loosely. If I scrunch it in my hands like that, if I squish it in my hands. I don't want it to fall right apart. If it was doing that, I would water these beds. I also don't want a ball of mud, which I'm going to end up with in a few minutes. So we're going to try to get this done quickly. All right, so what we're doing is we're rolling it up so that the roll is on the outside, and on the inside it goes straight down. So the condensation will just run straight down and back into the bed. We're kind of making a big terrarium here, so you want to keep the condensation inside there, but you don't want it to get too wet. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this up now because it's really wet. But this is what they're going to look like eventually. The plastic is up off the ground, the mud puddle, and it's rolled up inside the bed. So this means that we can easily snowblow around it. We're going to open them up this way. So we're going to open up this side, and then the far sides will stay closed. The same with the last one, so we can access two at a time easily. I'm also on the inside. Hopefully you can see the inside tent in here. It's a little wet. But I'm going to find some clothespins just to hold that up. Yeah, they're all set for winter. I'm really wet. I'm really miserable. God, please.
Well, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining us in the puddle. Hopefully on the next video, it's not so wet or sleeting. Yeah, that's all I got. Got nothing.